average healthy human. We're going to talk about that and more fun giraffe facts while I sketch this little long neck. So let's just turn the page and get started. Good morning, good morning, good morning. It is 5:30 in the morning on a Monday morning. Can you believe it's Monday morning already? Where did the weekend go? I am so shocked and appalled at how fast the weekend just evaporated, because I was having a really good time not doing anything productive. Good morning, Elizabeth. Good morning, Rick. Good morning, Adele. Claudia, Cassandra. Good morning. I am, like I said, I'm shocked and appalled at how fast the weekend went. I was having a really good time not doing anything. But it is Monday morning, and on Monday mornings, I like to do a little thing where I pull a random object from the Random Object Randomogrifier, a toy from the toy box, and I sketch it and I talk about it. And today's random object from the Random Object Randomogrifier is a giraffe. I love giraffes. I think that they are one of the coolest animals out there. They're great big long necks. Their height, they're great. They seem to be so graceful until they try to lean down and get a drink of water, and then it's like me trying to bend down to pick up something I've dropped off the floor. It's not pretty. Trying to get down there and get a drink of water. Poor things. We've taken some of our observations of giraffes, and we've taken that as extrapolated data to use on other long-necked animals that are now extinct, like sauropods. And we look at how giraffes do things like they fight for mates. They fight for mates by swinging their heads like sledgehammers. They'll fight off lions by swinging their heads like sledgehammers. And so we say that's how the sauropods must have done it also, even though there's no real evidence of sauropods having done that. I think we just think it's really cool that the giraffes do it. And so we want to believe that the sauropods did also. But giraffes respect fairness. When they fight, when they swing their heads at each other, if one contestant loses his footing, the giraffe will stop. The aggressing giraffe will stop and let the other one get his bearing before they continue. And if one is losing, the other giraffe will stop and give him a chance to walk away. They won't just sit there and hammer on each other. They're not fighting to the death. They're just fighting for mates. And their ossicones on top of their head, they're called ossicones because they're not true. Well, they are true horns, but they're covered in fur and skin and fur, and nerves. And so they're more of a defensive weapon than they are an aggressive weapon. So their ossicones prevent them from just goring each other to death. Good morning, Pamela. Never thought of it as a cryptid. It does sound like an insane description, Adele. I agree with that. It does sound like an insane description. Uh, Gallagher used to do a comedy bit about evolution and uh, God mocking Darwin. And one of his proofs that giraffes had that God had a sense of humor was the giraffe. You know, let's make yellow spotted horses with a big long neck. Ah, figure that one out, Darwin. All right, that's probably enough pencil. So yeah, I can see where people would absolutely think that's not a real animal. There's no way that's a real animal. And the idea that they used to think that they got that way just by stretching their necks to reach for higher food rather than selecting for individuals with longer necks through evolution. As though if I were to stretch my neck out and then have children, those children would have longer necks. Seven. Giraffes have 7 vertebrae in their neck. They're talking about in the chat about how long their necks are. Giraffes have the same 7 vertebrae in their neck as most vertebrates have. There's not any extra bones in their neck, which makes them that much cooler. This is a toy. I have to remember that this is a toy. I want to draw realistic features, but I have to remember that this is a toy. Because the idea is to draw what I see. What, Mom?
I said, Adele said, I saw this horse-like animal with a long neck and horns as broad as skin. Yeah, sure, buddy. That's enough life for you.
Yeah. Okay, Grandpa, let's get you back to the home. Sure you did. Yeah. And nobody's buying that. At some point, we're going to have to go to essence of spots, especially on the legs. The spots on the legs get a little crowded and a little small for my eyes to see. As I mentioned in the opening, they have a heart the size of a basketball. And their blood pressure, because they have to pump that blood all the way up to their head, their blood pressure is about twice of what the average healthy humans is. They're as tall as a blue whale is long. And so I wondered about the comparison of their heart and their blood pressure. And it turns out a blue whale's blood pressure is about the same as a human's because it's measured compared to atmospheres. And if you took a blue whale from the very, very depths of the ocean and immediately brought them to the surface, if you could teleport them from the depth of the ocean to the surface, they'd explode because their blood pressure changes with depth. But the way we measure it is compared to to the atmospheric pressure, and so it measures the same way as ours does. But they're pumping blood horizontally, so the blood just goes through larger arteries. Giraffes don't have large elastic arteries like we have. They just have a huge heart that pumps at high pressure, which is pretty cool.
Dale says it doesn't seem right. A blue whale is definitely longer than a giraffe is tall.
That's probably true.
No way a giraffe is 20 meters tall.
No, not 20 meters. Giraffes are only about 18 feet tall. They're not 20 meters. They're only about 18 feet. I think I got my whales confused. Or I got confused going back and forth between meters and feet. Who knows what I was doing last night when I was writing that stuff down.
Yeah,
Yeah, they're only about 18 feet tall. Dun, dun, dun.
18 feet's a great white shark, she says.
I wonder what their blood pressure is compared to the great white shark. My burnt orange does not want to absorb water these days, and that makes my shadows not want to gray. There used to be a bunch of different types of giraffes. There's only four major subspecies today, but there used to be a bunch of different types of giraffes. The trees, the African plains, used to be covered in trees.
Giraffe's blood pressure is almost 3 times higher than a great white.
Oh my goodness. That means great whites have blood pressure like you.
Yeah, 80 over 40.
Yeah, low stuff.
The great white, thank you.
But the African plains used to be wetter, and then when they started drying out, they started getting covered in trees, taller trees, and that's when the giraffoids come along. But that change didn't stop. It continued to get drier and drier and drier, and trees gave way to grasslands, and that caused the giraffes to the different giraffe species to start to die off. And so there aren't as many giraffe species. They're only down to like I said, 4 major giraffe species these days.
We have Giraffe in the vertical, but I don't know what language.
Writing in English. Giraffe wrote the book in a short book that the author, in his own time in the I don't know what you're trying to say though.
Did you see Ivy's here?
I did. Hi, Ivy. I thought I said hi to Ivy, but I could be wrong. I often say hi to Ivy in my head. Hi, Ivy. Do. Do. So yeah, the same pressure that caused them to evolve, the drying of the African plains into more of a tree covered area. That same pressure continued to turn the African plains into a grassland and cause the trees to die out and become and cause the giraffes to isolate, cause many of the giraffoids to die off. They used to be all across Europe and Eurasia also, but that was 50 million years ago. Let me dry this real quick and we'll come back with some color. Ivy says no two giraffes have the same spots. They're like fingerprints. And she says this concludes my knowledge of giraffes. That's sweet. Oh goodness. They have that long tongue that reaches up and curls up into the trees and pulls the leaves down. Their closest relative is the okapi. Closest living relative is the okapi. Which is a zebra looking animal. It has stripes and spots and looks like it would be more closely related to the zebra, but it is not. It is a giraffeoid. I don't think that was quite dry. But they suspect that it differentiated from the okapi 11 to 12 million years ago. That they differentiated from a common ancestor 11 to 12 million years ago. Let's get a little vermilion going here with a touch of cobalt blue in it. Make it just a little brown. And we'll come back and we'll start filling in all those little blocks. How are we doing on time? Oh goodness, it's already 5:49. We got to get a move on. The newborns drop between 5 and 7 feet when they're born, and that drop helps break the amniotic sac. It helps sever the umbilical cord. It shocks their system into taking a breath. The same way we spank babies, or we used to spank babies. I don't think they spank babies anymore when they're born. Laws against corporeal punishment, that sort of thing. But we used to turn babies upside down and give them a good solid swat when they were born.
If they evolve because of trees, then why do they not evolve as the tree disappears? Just checking.
So the trees have disappeared faster than they could, and they are devolving because the energy is being moved into the okapis and not into the giraffes. The giraffes are still giraffes. Giraffes still have long necks. Whatever would come after them, just like any other organism, they're a dead end now. Whatever would have come after them, they're the dead end. So they are devolving because you've got other animals that are filling in the niche that are like the okapi that are increasing in numbers, that are filling in the niche of the grassland.
This Brontosaurus with a long neck dinosaurs, right?
Yes, brontosauropods. Yeah, brontosauruses, brachiosaurs, Diplodocus.
Maybe they skimmed off from them.
Maybe, but those are birds, so you know.
And then says starting life with a concussion.
Yeah.
I hope they don't get any damage, though. And Cassandra says they do vigorous toweling these days.
They do what? Vigorous toweling. Babies, newborns, they do vigorous toweling these days. They don't spank the babies. They give them a vigorous toweling. Yeah, when the environment changes quickly like that, and new species emerge, the old species is considered a dead end. All right, let me dry that real quick. My cord is getting twisted up on me. Pretty sure a human baby couldn't survive that fall, Pamela. I mean, I'm just guessing on that one. They're pretty fragile. But giraffes have been declining since the Holocene.
Adele says, you just checked the newborn giraffes are pretty taller than her.
Oh, I feel your pain. I feel your pain. But giraffes have been dwindling since the Holocene. You know, we always like to blame the humans for overhunting and pressure and climate change, and we like to blame the humans for the encroachment of the environment, building houses and bringing in livestock, and all that might have had an impact. I'm not going to say that it doesn't have an impact, but I will say that this has been going on. That the other giraffoids have been going extinct for well over 100,000 years. And you can't really blame the 20 or so other species of giraffes going extinct on humans when humans didn't exist when they started going extinct. You can either argue that it's the human's fault, or you can argue that you agree with the evolutionary timeline. But you can't do both because the evolutionary timeline doesn't support the idea that it's the human's fault.
Yeah. I don't understand this name.
That looks like a Russian or Ukrainian type name. Malkahino, good, welcome, thank you. We can't pronounce your name. I'm sorry. What is today? Today is the 20th of April. April's almost gone. We have 1 weekend left in April. Now, 3 of the 4 subspecies right now are gaining in population. So, on a good note, there are herds that are growing due to conservation efforts, especially ecotourism. People are paying to come view them. Used to be people would pay to come shoot them, and now people are paying to come view them. And so that is a nice change. So there is my giraffe based on the photograph. Let's see what it looks like from my perspective. My perspective. We get that. So that's what I did today. Tomorrow, what do we have tomorrow? Oh, the suspense. The suspense. Whatever could it be? The suspense. Oh, now that is a change. Anybody want to take a stab at it? This will be a dramatic change from what we normally do, because this, boys and girls, is an hibiscus. We're going to do an hibiscus tomorrow, native to the Hawaiian Islands, and they change colors throughout the day based on the same red pigment that you find in red elm trees, male elm trees. And we will talk about that and more fun hibiscus facts while I sketch this little flower tomorrow morning at 5:30 a.m. Texas time. So you're going to want to set your notification bell for that. But guys, thank you so much for joining me. I really do appreciate it. I look forward to it every day. I really like the fact that you guys did research on your own and came back with your own facts and pushed back on some of the facts, because I missed the fact that we were talking about blue whales, and I don't think blue whale was the whale I meant to talk about. But that said, guys, thank you so much for joining me. I really do look forward to this every day. It is my favorite time of the day when I get to art with my besties. It holds me accountable to my art practice, and is often the only art I get to do in a day. So thank you so much for that. Claudia, Cassandra, Adele, Ivy, Pamela, Maka. I'm sorry, I can't read your name. Giravan. Who am I missing? Did I miss anybody? Elizabeth. Oh, yes, Elizabeth. Rick. Guys, thank you so much for joining me. I really do appreciate it. Mom and Dad, your help is always appreciated. Thank you so much for joining me. Be sure and tune in tomorrow. Ivy. Oh, I almost forgot about Ivy. How could I forget Ivy? Tomorrow, be sure and tune in tomorrow. Same Artistic Biker time, same Artistic Biker channel, and then we dance. We dance until somebody says they see me dancing, because when they see me dancing, I will know that the lag has caught up to the stream. And when the lag catches up to the stream, I know that I won't get cut off mid-sentence. It gives everybody a chance to say hello and goodbye and ask questions of each other. It gives you a chance to click clicky thingies this way if you're on the horizontal, or this way if you're on the vertical. But the most